My name is Tracy Halvorson, and I'm 36 years old. For 17 years, I was the compliance analyst no one questioned at Redmont Financial Systems, the quiet one in a powerful Southern family that never made room for quiet women. My sister Audra? She was always the crown jewel, Harvard Law, perfect teeth, the kind of woman who gets applause just for walking into a room.
Me?
I was the one who color-coded datasets, the one who stayed late, who asked too many questions, who always left family dinners early. I've spent most of my life feeling like the broken cog in a machine that smiled for press photos. But everything shifted the morning I was escorted out of my office, and Audra was promoted into it. What no one expected was that I'd start pulling the threads, and that the whole thing would unravel right into federal court. Tracy Halvorson. Conference Room B, immediately. The email hit my inbox at 7:12 a.m., subject line, mandatory. By 7:15, my ID badge had stopped working. The elevator stuttered, like it knew what was coming. I pressed the button again. Still stuck. I didn't wait. I took the stairs, all 12 flights. Each step drummed louder than the last. Declan Rourke was already seated at the head of the table when I walked in, smiling, like this was some kind of performance review. To his right, Simone Everhart, General Counsel. Black folder. No coffee. She didn't plan on staying long. To his left, a third person I didn't recognize, young, pale, hands twitching over a tablet. HR, I guessed. Disposable. No chair for me. Declan tapped the table twice. Tracy.
Sit.
Oh, wait. No need to sit. This won't take long. He slid the black folder across. One sheet inside. My name. Redmont letterhead. Signature line. A resignation.
Pre-signed.
Dated yesterday. My jaw tensed. This is a mistake.
No mistake.
Simone opened her folder. Pages of printed emails, redacted. There's been a compliance breach. Under your name. I didn't breach anything. You didn't report it, Declan said. And that's worse. The silence that followed felt engineered. You're giving me 30 seconds to walk away from 17 years, I said. You're lucky we're giving you that, Simone said. Or would you prefer to leave in handcuffs? I looked at her. Really looked.
Calm.
No doubt. She wasn't bluffing. But she wasn't telling the whole story either. Either you sign now, Declan said, leaning in, or you go down with what's coming next. There's a moment when a person breaks. Then there's a moment after, when they sharpen. I didn't sign. I closed the folder. Then I'll wait for the charges. Security was already outside the door. They didn't touch me. Just walked beside me. Elevator down. No words. In the lobby, I passed the digital ticker while broadcasting financial news. I wasn't expecting to stop. But then I saw it. Breaking, Redmont Financial appoints Audra Halvorson as VP of Compliance.
Audra.
My sister. A pause. A pulse. Everything around me fell silent. I whispered it before I even realized. She took my job. The elevator doors closed behind me, and in that mirrored surface, I saw what they really took. My clearance. My reputation. My silence. She took my job. She took my name. But I still have the one thing she didn't plan for. The truth. The elevator dinged. I didn't move. Outside, people passed like nothing had shifted. Like the world hadn't just cracked under my feet. By the time I reached the sidewalk, my Redmont Access badge vibrated in my pocket. I looked down, screen locked. Then it went black. No signal. No service. No login. Just like that, 17 years were deleted. My apartment felt smaller than I remembered. Quiet, but not the good kind. The kind that waits to be broken. I shut the blinds before I even set my keys down. I turned on the TV.
Mute.
Background noise. The email came at 8:09 a.m.
No sender name.
Just one line. They used your name to clean the data. Start with Q4/22. I stared at it. My palms were sweating. Fear's just logic in disguise. My therapist once told me. You're not crazy. You're calculating.
Fine.
Let's calculate. I powered on my personal laptop, an old MacBook with a cracked hinge. I'd saved a full system image of Redmont's compliance server from a year ago, back when IT still trusted me. Before Audra came back from New York and started whispering about streamlining oversight. It took 20 minutes to find the folder. Another 10 to get past the expired credentials. The audit logs opened. Q4, year 2022. 3 vendor files flagged in red, each with a compliance clearance line. Each signed electronically by me. Except I hadn't cleared any of them. Vendor 1, Convergent Solutions LLC, $87,000. Vendor 2, Halifax Group, $120,000. Vendor 3, Fulton Park Strategies, $315,000. No services rendered. No contracts. Just payment authorization and internal cross-department collaboration expenses. That phrase again. Cross-department. Which department? I scrolled. Audit trail. Created by a Halvorsen admin override access.
Audra.
It hit like ice water. She didn't just take my job. She used my name to launder $500,000 through fake vendors. And now they were pinning it on me. I jumped up so fast the chair tipped. The room tilted. My head spun. Then, power cut. Total blackout. TV, off. Router, dead. The room, silent. Then a sound. Outside. A low car alarm, chirping once. Then again. I moved to the kitchen, pulled open the drawer. My flashlight was missing. I never move it. Back to the window. I tilted the blinds just enough. A black SUV idled across the street. Engine still running. Not parked. Just there. Waiting. Don't panic. I grabbed my bag, shoved the MacBook and my old external drive inside. Burner phone. Flashlight app. Head to fire escape. I moved quickly, low to the ground. As I passed the bathroom, I caught my reflection. Disheveled.
Pale.
Eyes wide. I looked like someone who was about to run.
No.
Someone who was done running. Down the fire escape. Metal groaned under each step. 3 floors.
2. 1.
I landed in the alley behind the building and kept walking. No phone. No light. Just street lamps flickering above. There was a moment, maybe 5 seconds, where I felt the world open up around me. Like the city knew I was awake now.
And it didn't like it.
I stopped at a diner 2 blocks away.
Coffee.
Corner booth. Back to the wall. I opened the laptop again. Someone had accessed the audit folder 3 hours before I did. Another IP. Internal. Redmont proxy. And they tried to delete the same 3 vendor files. Timing isn't coincidence, my father once told me. It's camouflage. So I started a backup. Transferred all 3 files to a secure encrypted drive. Set auto-uploads to a dead-drop cloud account I'd made in grad school. Then I noticed it. The files had metadata embedded. Not just audit signatures. A location. The IP was bouncing through Charlotte, but the server flag traced to a private network registered under the Halvorsen Family Trust. My family's legacy fund. The same fund Audra managed when she took time off to work in philanthropy. I closed the laptop slowly. The waitress brought me a refill. Smiled. Said, "Long night?" I nodded. "Long life." Back at my building, the SUV was gone. Inside, my door was closed, but the bottom hinge was loose. Barely hanging on. I pulled the bag tighter to my chest. They weren't just erasing evidence. They were erasing me. The brunch invitation came in gold-foiled script. My mother never did subtle. Family is legacy. That was her phrase. Used it at fundraisers. At funerals. At every moment she needed to remind us we were Halvorsen's first, individuals second. I went anyway. Not because I wanted to. Because I needed to look Audra in the eye and see how she wore betrayal. The restaurant was glass and gold, downtown Charlotte. Tall ceilings, orchestral jazz. The kind of place where everything gleamed so bright it blurred the lines between privilege and performance. Audra was already seated when I walked in. Designer navy. Diamond watch. laughing at some joke Graham made, flipping her hair like nothing ever cracked. Like she hadn't used my signature to wash 6 figures of dirty money through Redmont. Merritt Halvorson, matriarch, turned to me with that polished southern grin. "Tracy, you're late." I sat. No apology. No smile. Audra passed me a mimosa. "Try not to spill this one." There it was. "You remember Q4? I asked. "Halifax Group? Fulton Park." She blinked. A flicker of recognition, then smooth again. "Should I?" Graham cut in. "Not here." I faced him. "You knew." He sipped his coffee. "You're being dramatic." That word. Dramatic. It's what men say when they're scared you're right. "We made it through Eggs Benedict and fake pleasantries." I said nothing else. But I watched. Audra had something in her purse. Checked it twice. A phone. Not her usual one. I clocked the case. No monogram. Too plain. Burner? No one else noticed. Of course not. Audra was the center. I was always the satellite. The check came. My mother handed it to Graham. Her version of affection. "Let's not drag work into family," Merritt said. "Funny," I said, "that you never say that when it's her work." Outside, I caught Audra in the lot. She moved fast, but not fast enough. "Why me?" She didn't turn around. "Because you're always so easy to erase." I stepped in front of her, close enough to smell the citrus from her perfume. Cold. Sharp. "You forged 3 clearances," I said. "You tied them to trust routing numbers. You used my credentials to bury it." She didn't deny it. Instead, she reached into her bag, pulled out a white envelope. "Take it," she said. "It's more than fair." I opened it. A check. 6 figures. Signed from the family trust. Not Redmont. "You're paying me off with blood money," I said. "I'm protecting our name." I ripped the check in half. She didn't flinch, just slid into her car. "The past doesn't disappear just because you shred it," I said. Audra rolled down the window, looked me dead in the eye. "You think this is about you?" she whispered. "You were just the decoy. We're already too deep to dig up." She drove off. I didn't move. A few breaths later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Just a document preview. Subpoena, United States District Court, Charlotte Division. Issued not to me. To Redmont Financial Systems. Requesting internal audit logs. All files connected to Tracy Halvorson. Signed by a federal judge. The next message came seconds later. "We need to talk. Before they bury you too. LK. If the DOJ is in, this isn't just family betrayal. It's federal." The coffee shop was a safe bet. Midday crowd. Noise cover. Line of sight to every entrance. I picked the corner booth under a flickering bulb. Back to the wall. Lena Kovac walked in like she still worked at Redmont. Laser sharp. Eyes scanning. No eye contact until she sat. "You've got 20 minutes, she said, pulling off her sunglasses. "After that, I don't know you." "You already don't," I replied. She didn't smile. "I warned them about the Q4 vendors. 6 months ago." "And then you disappeared," I said. "Sabbatical?" "I was told to take a leave or be buried in NDAs. You know how that works." Her hand slid across the table, dropping a USB drive. Black, unmarked. "Redmont's version of confession," she said. I plugged it in. She'd been signing off vendor vetting under a ghost title. Special Internal Liaison, Halvorson Trust. My family's name. My family's fund. Your counsel. How'd this get through? Because she sold it as internal restructuring. Said it was to centralize compliance. And because she had someone upstairs to buffer. Declan. Lena shook her head. Declan's not the architect. He's the asset. Click. A door opened behind me. I turned fast. Just a college kid grabbing espresso. My pulse didn't slow. Lena leaned in. "They're not cleaning up files, Tracy. They're cleaning house." Cut scene. We parked a block from Redmont's old HQ. It had been closed since the merger, but Lena still had keys. Said they kept legacy records in the basement vault. Paper ledgers. No digital trail. Elevator didn't work. We took the service stairs. The lights flickered. Air smelled like dust and burnt metal. That silent, metallic tension. Every step louder than the last. Basement level. One locked steel door. Lena entered a code.
Beep. Click.
We stepped into the vault. Rows of locked cabinets. Shelves of old invoices. Archive binders dating back to 2002. There. Lena pointed to a cabinet marked Vendor Ethereal. We pried it open. Inside, 3 red binders. All stamped cleared. Halvorsen internal. I opened one. The handwriting wasn't mine, but the signature line was. My name.
In ink.
My breath hitched. They printed fake approvals. Lena's voice was tight. Printed, notarized, and time-stamped. Makes it look ancient. Bulletproof if no one checks routing logic. I flipped the page. Vendor names.
Dates.
Then, bank routing numbers. All pointed to the Halvorsen Family Trust. Suddenly, behind us, click. The vault door.
Closed. Locked.
Emergency lights kicked in. Low red glow. We froze. No sound. Then a hum. From the corner. Motion sensor. Recording. They know we're here, I whispered. Lena pulled out her phone. No signal. There's a box upstairs. Emergency override. But it's key-coded. I grabbed the binders. We don't have time. She ripped a paperclip apart. Jammed it into the hinge of the latch.
Tick. Tick.
Snap. Another sound behind us, metal dragging. Someone else was here. The lock popped. We sprinted out. Back up the stairs. 2 at a time. The door above was open, but light spilled through from outside. Shadows moving. They're in the lot, Lena hissed. We ducked into the maintenance hallway. I've got a guy, she said. We get to him. This goes federal. We slipped out through a side exit and vanished down the alley. Later, in her car, Lena handed me a backup drive. You need to see this, she said. It's the org chart Audra built. I opened the file. Audra had created an internal team under Redmont, but its funding, its payroll, even its names, were tied to Halvorsen Holdings. The entire department didn't exist on public orgs, but it funneled over $4.2 million in Q4 alone. She wasn't just planning a fraud, I said. She was building her own company inside ours. Lena didn't speak for a long moment. She's not just your sister, she finally said. She's a strategist. She didn't just frame me. She reprogrammed the truth. The summons hit my inbox at 5:16 a.m. A government seal.
Sealed case.
Subject line. United States District Court. Testimonial appearance required. I didn't click it at first. Just stared. Because some doors don't open without consequences. At 5:30 a.m., I called Lena. You're up early, she said. They're not asking. They're coming. She didn't ask what I meant. She never did. By 8 o'clock, I was sitting in a conference room at the DOJ's Charlotte division. Sterile. No clocks. Everything beige, like truth couldn't survive color. Agent Navarro was already waiting. No suit. Black shirt. Rolled sleeves. Like he wanted to look informal. It didn't work. Ms. Halvorsen, he nodded. Let's talk immunity. I waited. He dropped a folder between us. This is what we have. And this, he slid another over, is what we don't. Inside. Audit gaps. Forged signatures. My name on 3 falsified quarterly reports. Nothing on Audra. We know she's involved, Navarro said. But we can't prove it without a corroborating internal witness. Someone who had access. Someone like you. You mean the person they set up to take the fall? He smiled without smiling. Your sister built a firewall. You're the crack. He pulled out a 3rd page. A subpoena addressed to Redmont, requesting every communication between Audra Halvorsen and Halvorsen Trust Holdings. My breath caught. They were going after the family money. Funny how everything smells like legacy when it starts to rot, I said.
He paused.
Will you testify? I didn't answer. I wasn't ready.
Cut scene.
The Halvorson estate sat quiet. Too quiet. Storm clouds rolled over like a warning. I didn't park in the driveway. Walked instead. Counted steps. Watched the blinds. Inside, Graham waited in the study.
Dark tie.
Whiskey glass full but untouched. "You're about to do something stupid," he said. "That's your line when you're scared. You testify. You expose all of us." "No," I said.
She did that.
"I'm just turning on the lights." He stood calm. Graham's power was always in his restraint. "This isn't a movie, Tracy. There's no noble ending. Just collateral." I looked at the books on the wall. None of them read. Just for show. She used our name. Our trust. And you're defending her? I'm defending what's left of this family. That family died the moment she forged my signature. I left him in the silence. Later that night, Lena texted a location. "Come alone. We found someone." It was a rooftop bar. Downtown. Private. No cameras. Lena sat with a man in his late 30s.
Pale.
Nervous fingers. "This is Nolan," she said. "Used to work finance security at Redmont. Left after Q4, quietly." He didn't shake my hand. "I saw them reroute funds through inactive vendor accounts," he said. "Audra gave verbal clearance. Said it was board approved." "You have proof?" He nodded. "Encrypted copies. But I only turn them over if you can guarantee I don't get buried next." I looked at Lena. She gave the faintest nod. "I can't promise safety," I said. "But I can promise exposure. Sometimes that's all that keeps you alive, making your enemies too public to kill." We left separately. I took the elevator alone. At the parking level, the lights flickered. A black SUV sat idling near the exit. Same one for my street. I kept walking. Key in hand. Bag tight to my side. As I reached the car, the SUV moved.
Fast.
No plate. I ducked. Dove between vehicles. The SUV screeched.
Turned.
Vanished down the ramp. My heart hammered in my ears. This wasn't pressure. This was war. I drove to Lena's place. We opened Nolan's files. Inside, transfers traced directly to Shellwell Investments, a Delaware-registered LLC. Ownership? Merritt Halvorson. Not just Audra. My mother. It wasn't just corporate corruption. This was a family operation. The courtroom was colder than it should have been. Federal seals lined the wood-paneled walls. Everything smelled like paper and old steel, like the truth had waited too long to be said out loud. Audra entered first. Flanked by two lawyers in pinstripes and polished shoes, she looked more like a keynote speaker than someone walking into a subpoena hearing. Her chin held high. Smile rehearsed. She even waved to someone in the gallery.
Not me.
Declan followed.
Cuffed.
Face flat. No charm left. Then Merritt Halvorson appeared. My mother. Pearls. Charcoal coat. Gloves she hadn't worn since Dad's funeral. She didn't look shaken. She looked ready. You know the irony? She was always the one who said, "Dignity isn't inherited. It's preserved." Maybe that's why she was willing to destroy mine. The judge took a seat. The hearing began. I was called as a key witness under conditional immunity. The moment I walked up to the stand, Merritt looked away. I didn't. I opened the folder in front of me, one final file, printed hours before. Inside, routing numbers, ghost vendors, time-stamped approvals. But most important, 2 recorded calls. First, Audra, speaking to Declan about funneling funds through Shellwell Investments. A voice match verified by DOJ. Second, a call between Audra and my mother. It was Merritt who said it. We built Tracy to be silent. That's what she's always been good at. A slow inhale across the room. The kind of silence that sharpens. She's clean, Audra had replied. But that's why she's perfect. When I pressed play, I didn't look at anyone. I let the sound do the carving. When it ended, I turned to the judge. I didn't come here for revenge. I came here because the truth shouldn't be reserved for the powerful.
Cut scene.
The Halvorson estate burned its lights all night. Cameras rolled. News anchors circled like sharks. Audra was charged with fraud, conspiracy, obstruction. Bail denied. Declan pled out in exchange for corporate disclosure. And Merritt?
She didn't get arrested that day.
But subpoenas rained down. IRS, SEC, DOJ. Even family money doesn't cover that much rot. I went back once. The house. The piano room. My childhood bedroom. Empty.
Cold.
But somehow lighter. Graham met me at the front steps. Said nothing. Just handed me an envelope. Inside, a copy of Dad's handwritten addendum to the trust. A clause that gave controlling stake in Redmont to me, not Audra, if both daughters were involved in legal disputes. He'd signed it 2 weeks before his stroke. Never filed. Just left it in the safe. He knew, Graham said. But he never had the courage to choose. I looked at him. I did. 2 weeks later, I sat across from Agent Navarro. You want to rebuild Redmont? He asked. No, I said. I want to shut it down right. Lena would handle compliance audits. Nolan would head forensic tracing. We were going to dismantle it from the inside. Legally. Fully. No shadows left behind. Some people inherit empires. Some inherit the cost of keeping them clean. And some of us? We burn the whole thing down because someone has to start over without lying first. 1 month later. Rain tapped on the courthouse windows as I stepped outside. I checked my phone. One message. They're offering a settlement and full NDA. I stared at it. The number had no name. But I knew who sent it.
Audra.
I deleted it. No answer is the answer. I turned toward the street. Someone held a mic in my face. Ms. Halvorson, any comment on the family legacy? I smiled. They wanted a cover story.
Pause.
I became the headline.